HSC delegate meetings whereby safety won't be there during the meeting. No representative of top management will be there during the meeting. So the meeting is going to be held by personnel. And then we nominate someone who is going to be in charge for such delegate meetings. There you have welders, you have fitters, you have crane operators, they're all together. And then they're having, this meeting is usually held like once every quarter. They come together and then they share their experiences together. They share how we can go on to make safety a priority and how to make the workplace safer. They share their concerns. They open up to one another, and then minutes are taken. And then with the participation, we see where we have gaps in our safety management system or in operations, and then we fix. And then the more we close out gaps, or the more we get these recommendations, the more we continue to prioritize safety, because prioritizing safety doesn't just happen. It's not just it's not a 100-meter sprint. It's a marathon. You need to prioritize safety every day. So with each recommendation, we keep on prioritizing safety every day in our workplace. And then we establish policies, like speak out policies, that encourages people to speak out, to stop work. There's also the stop work authority. Everyone has a stop work card. Once you're working on site, you see something, oh, this is not safe. Even if you don't know the job, because some people will come and say, oh, safety, that is not my job. How would I go about stopping something I don't? You say, if your intuition, if you see something, if your intuition, just say, stop. Why are you doing it this way? Engage. Why are you doing it this way? And by the time you hear from the other party, their answers may give you the hints or may give you the nudge to display the red card, to stop the job. This is how we encourage workers' participation and then consultation. And each time we do this, with each improvement, we continue to prioritize safety in the workplace. And then now we are leveraging on technology, artificial intelligence, and robotics. And then how does this come into play? For PPE, for example, now, there are new materials for PPE, like nanotechnology and graphene materials, that make PPE lighter, more effective, and easier to maintain. Like, for example, where I work, because of the weather conditions, we have this PPE that cools you. It's a cooling PPE. It cools you, it regulates your temperature. And aside that alone, with PPE, there is something called health status monitoring now in PPE. There are sensors. If you're dehydrating, it will tell you. The PPE will prompt you, oh, you're sweating a lot, you need to drink water. If your PPEs are uncomfortable, these sensors gives you these sensors alerts you and also alerts the HSE to that, these PPEs are not the right fit or are not the right qualities. And then when it comes to remote monitoring now, you know, we try to, like, for the first barrier now in safety is like elimination. We want to see how we can eliminate the hazards and then manage the risk to an acceptable level. And that is where remote monitoring comes into play. Before, we have people going to confined spaces, vessels or reactors. They wear their SCBAs, they enter there to go and do inspection. But now it's not so. We have like drones, we have robots now that we send into these confined spaces, and they inspect and they prompt us. They give us the results. We even have ROVs now for offshore. We send these ROVs down into the ocean to look at the state of underwater or subsea infrastructures, and then predictive maintenance using technology, artificial intelligence, and robotics. So there are sensors now that are on vessels, on infrastructures, vessels, pipes, tanks, and these sensors monitor condition monitoring. And with this condition monitoring, they are able to identify performance issues in equipment on sites. And then they're able to prompt you, okay, this is when you're supposed to have your preventive maintenance. If you don't have your preventive maintenance, these are the possible consequences, and this may be the likely root cause. So technology now is driving. So safety now, there's safety now in technology, and technology is also driving safety to ensure safety is being prioritized in the workplace. Or is it the use of virtual reality? Like in the workplace now, if you want to train people on how to use fire extinguishers, you put on your virtual reality glasses that actually takes you out. It takes you out of, with virtual reality, you do not expose people to risk during training. So it creates this simulation, and then you're trained on certain safety skills, like maybe firefighting, AGT, gas testing. You'll be trained using virtual reality or augmented reality, whereby real-time information is being integrated into what you wear. Like, for example, now at work now, there is this glass that you wear. Like if you have a new PPE, like a body harness or like an escape suit, once you wear the glass, it gives you instructions on how you can wear these PPEs, or how you can wear this, or on how you can wear these escape suits. So safety now is transcending, like it's transcending into technology, artificial intelligence, AI now. AI now is also helping prioritize safety in the workplace. Can we move to the next slide, please? So what are your roles? What are you going to do now after this, after listening to the gospel of safety? What do you intend to do, or what are the steps you can take from here? Share your safety objectives. From this year, before we hit December 31st, you should already know your safety objective for next year. You should start preparing your objectives, and then you should share them. Share them with your contractors through safety bulletins, annual safety bulletins. You can even get your CEO involved, because there are CEO safety messages for the year. And people will know, oh, since management is deeply involved, or since management is rooting for safety, we need to really take this seriously. So through flyers, you can share your safety objective, your safety thoughts, your plans to your subcontractors, so that they can begin to align. Also, they can start putting up measures to align their programs to what you seek to achieve by next year. So integrate safety into all departments and operations. Someone may say, how do we integrate safety into business? Oh, your business development, your business development personnel who goes out to tell clients about your companies, the brochure for business, for your business, that your business development personnel shares. Inside that brochure, there could be your safety performance there. Like like last year, 2024, we completed 1 million man hours without LTI in so and so projects. We're able to deliver 100 coveralls or 100 safety boots of so and so brands without delay. And then this is the feedback from our clients. Then HR too. You need to start working with HR. When people come into your organizations, they should have their employment letter should have safety responsibility there, where as they're signing their employment letter, they're seeing their roles and responsibility. Safety is there. Then KPIs, there should be safety KPIs. In every department should have a safety KPI. There should be safety KPI in every department. With this, you're able to push people. Even people on site, welders, they have safety, the welding men, you have safety KPI. Contractors, you have your safety KPIs. This is what we're expecting from you. And then MRMs, your MRM meetings shouldn't be, that's your management review meetings, shouldn't be where you just come to apportion blames. Your management review meetings, especially when it comes to safety, should be about solution findings, should be about making the workplace, safer. Like at times you come to management review meetings and people ask, oh, we didn't meet up with this. Oh, it was it was operations fault. Oh, it was the fault of production. This one, no, your MRM meeting should be where you should align. Your MRM meetings now should have good or like problem-solving agendas, you can look into ISO 45001 for guidance. Your MRM meetings are very key. And your MRM meetings, the management is watching to see, the management is watching to see if they would even listen to you in the first place. If you come into MRM meetings with a lot of excuses, with a lot of, oh, this hasn't been closed out, we are moving it to next year, oh, this hasn't been done, then there's your management will be looking and be like, what is happening? Like, really, this hasn't been done, this hasn't been closed out from this fault to another. Your management, since the management will be in your MRM meetings, your MRM meeting should be one of solutions. You should be looking at management of change in your MRM meetings. Okay, want to manage change? We should be looking at the needs and wants of interested parties. Like, your workers must have been complaining maybe of a particular set of PPE that doesn't last, it's not quality, or it doesn't enable them to do their job effectively. It is one of the issues you should bring up during MRM. Say, this is what we are experiencing. We need accounts or finance or projects to create budgets for PPEs for next year. We want to get certain kinds of PPEs for next year. These are the trainings that we are lacking. How can our personnel function better if they're not trained in just a simple job hazard analysis? We need to train people. So these are the things you should discuss in your MRM meetings. And then for procurement, this is the time to look beyond just 2 vendors. Look to have 5 vendors. 5 vendors. The more vendors you have, the better. Look to have like 5 vendors. Look to substitute. Like, there was this there's a chemical we're using once offshore that could generate H2S, like, if not properly blended. So what did safety do? H2S is like very, very toxic and it kills. What did safety do? Oh, we started to look, okay, what chemical can we substitute that can still give production the result they want, but yet less risky? So you should work with your procurement department for that. And then you should learn to create a psychologically safe environment. You have new generations coming into your workforce. Mental health is a big issue now. So you should have like stress or fatigue management programs, mental health programs. Your HMO, the HMO you have for your workers now, you should ask your HMO if they can add counseling to some of the benefits. So if people are having mental health issues, at least you've made provision for counseling. They can go for counseling. There could be surveys. You want to see if people are free to talk, or if people would easily take accountability without the fear of blame. So you want to see all this. And then properly source, pre-qualify, and evaluate your vendors. Your subcontractor is representing you on the client's plant. Whatever performance your subcontractor comes up with is still going to fall back on you. And then continuous personnel and staff development. So as a safety professional, next year should be one which you tend to improve yourself on leadership skills, technical communication, and the ability to influence leaders, to influence decisions. So I think I'm done now. Thank you very much for your time and for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ikenna. That was a lovely presentation. Mr. Ikenna, as I said before, is a HSE specialist in Qatar Energy. So our other speakers for today is Engineer Dr. Samuel Asiwe. He is a senior HSE manager at Seplat Energy. Then we also have Ms. Demilade Fatunde. She is a senior analyst in QHSSE at Tetracore Energy Group Limited. So we have a few people in the attendees that have been in regular occurrence at our webinar. We have Miss Ellen van der Borg, Miss Everista, Mr. Iboro, Mr. Balogun, Mr. Richard, and so many other that I'm not able to get through to now. So our next speaker is going to be Miss Demilade. Miss Demilade, please carry on. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Please, can you confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ms. Demilade.
All right. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Fatunde, and as introduced, I work with Tetracore Energy Group Limited. So today, I'll be speaking to the innovative solutions, safety solutions, leveraging technology and best practices in hazard management, right? I would like to thank the first speaker for his robust presentation. Of course, we work in an hazardous environment. Safety is very paramount. And the reason why safety is very paramount is because we are looking to protect our human resources, right? And also looking to protect our equipment. This presentation currently explores the measures that are being implemented to ensure a safe working environment. So before I proceed to talking about the technology, right, I would like to state that when you are thinking safety, right, so the first point of contact before even any technology is being deployed is that you have to identify your risks, right? And then you have to go through the hierarchy of control. What do we call the hierarchy of control? In safety, we have a hierarchy of control to make sure that hazards don't escalate incidents or accidents, right? And then in the hierarchy of control, the first point of contact is elimination, right? So meaning that when you've identified your risk, what you're thinking, first of all, as a safety professional. So the first point of contact to do as a safety professional is how you're looking for how to eliminate the risk, right? So, and there are times that it's possible for you to eliminate the risk, and there are times that it's also impossible for you to eliminate the risk. So what you then do is to think of how to substitute the risk. You will then think of engineering controls, right? What can you put in place? What systems, what technologies, what do you need to put to ensure that these risks don't happen, right? That's the third step in the hierarchy of control. Then the next step is administrative control. Administrative control helps you, they help you to train your employees, train your contractors, train people on how to work. Because you can put things in place, and if people don't know the correct thing to do, you're going to be having serious issues in your safety. And then the last effective measure on your hierarchy of control is the issuance of personal protective equipment, which are PPEs. They are usually workwear, helmets, hand gloves, shoes, and the likes, right? So please, can you go to the next slide, please? Very much. So this is the slide. So in my experience as a safety professional, what I would say that even from the beginning, you don't have to wait till the end to start saying, oh, what do I put in place? Oh, this one, no, actually, that's too late. So when you're thinking safety, you have to think from the beginning. You have to work with your management, even from the planning phase. You have to work with your engineers if you're going to be designing, if you're going to be using equipment, like my facility where we use compressors to compress our gas, or even sometimes where there are pipelines being developed, you have to think, okay, so what do we have to put in place? Like I said, after you've done your risk identification, you have to know what to put in place to ensure that the risk is being mitigated. Some of the innovative tools that we've been able to use are out there for safety are gas detection systems, right? Emergency shutdown devices, right? This can be manual or this can be automated, and human machine interference, which is like the first speaker said, which enables remote monitoring. Please, can you zoom in on the slide so that everybody can see? But I will speak to what a gas detection system is. Basically, what gas detection does as a device is that it helps you monitor your real-time gas level across the facility, right? Again, like I said, I'm speaking to gas and pipeline. We're talking about pipeline, we're talking about compressed natural gas and things like that. So what gas detector does is that it helps you to monitor the amount of gas levels in the air, right? To enable that when there's a high risk. Okay, so many times these gas detectors are usually put in a high risk area, like where pipelines are, where your compressors for your compressed natural gas are, so that they will help you monitor when there are leaks on the system, right? So that you can immediately alert people in the facility to ensure that they are able to curb the leaks that are happening. Because we don't want a situation whereby gas is leaking and nobody knows anything about it. And then somebody is just somewhere sleeping and he say, oh, my office is far from this one, that's why I didn't know. Okay, your office is far and we expect you to be, at alert, but we're also going to put a technology that is going to work in the place of you, so that when you are alerted, you can easily go and curb that thing. Because when you leave some responsibilities to a large extent to human beings, you would expect that there will be errors, right? That's why we deploy the use of gas detection and gas detector systems. So once there's gas leaking anywhere, what the gas detection system does is that it starts shouting, it starts screaming that there's gas, there's gas, there's gas, and then you easily go there, identify, right? So we have a fixed gas detector system, we have a mobile gas detector system. So you can go with the mobile gas detector system to identify where the leakage is and then treat as possible, right? So what else we then do is that we also have what we call an emergency shutdown device. During the design phase, I would say that this is very important, that during the design phase of your technology or whatever you're employing in your facility, you have to speak with your OEMs that they enable that the devices have either a manual or automatic emergency shutdown valve. The reason why this is important is because this system allows the pipeline, the gas that is within the pipeline, right? It stops the gas from flowing. Like we know, right? Gas is flammable, right? And then in a situation whereby fire comes up, one of the ways you can stop fire is by removing the source, right? When you take out the fuel, the fire stops, right? And then what the gas emergency shutdown valve does is that immediately you sense anything, immediately you sense whatever leakages, or you sense whatever fire or anything, you either have it automated or you have it manual. If it's automated, it automatically stops gas from flowing. And once it stops gas from flowing, it mitigates the risk of an explosion or further harm to human beings or equipment. Another technology that is being used is what we call the human-machine interference. So like we said, we deploy HMI panels or HMI systems to our facilities, to necessary facilities, to ensure that, just like what the first speaker was saying, whereby, people go into confined spaces to carry out inspections, to carry out routine works and routine checks. What HMI system does for you is that you will just have it in a room and you'll be able to see how effectively your equipment is functioning, right? So you don't always have to go to the areas where there are high risk, right? And then you see how you effectively see how your machines are functioning, and also it helps you to limit human error, right? Yeah. So please, I would like to go to the next slide. Okay, so here I will be speaking to comprehensive fire safety measures that are necessary to be deployed in your facility. So one thing I would say is that the gas industry is heavily regulated by regulatory bodies. So if you are not doing your job, somebody is out there watching you and making sure that you do your job. If you don't prioritize safety, right? Somebody else out there prioritizing safety. I just got to chip this in. Somebody else out there prioritizing safety, and there are necessary requirements that every key player in the industry must meet, right? Especially when you want to safeguard when you're thinking for safeguarding the environment, safeguarding your equipment, and safeguarding people. Some of the fire safety measures that can be deployed in your facility are fire hydrant system, a very good fire hydrant system, a fire monitoring system, and what we call an anti-blast wall system. So what a fire hydrant system basically does is that it helps you to fight fire when there is need to fight fire. In the need of emergency, that's what it helps you to do. So their placement is usually very strategic, right? So just like I said, you carry out risk analysis, you carry out routine inspections. So what I would say is that in safety, you're not just doing things just for the sake of doing things. You're doing things from an informed perspective. And then we then have what we call a fire monitoring system. Basically, this detects heat, smoke, or even gas ignition, right? So we know that something that can cause fire is heat. When there's intense heat, it can, any small thing, and then it can escalate. So what your fire monitoring system also does is that it helps you detect heat, smoke, and everything. So it's very necessary and very critical for rapid response and damage control. So another thing that we do to curb fire safety, to enable fire safety measures is that even in just like I said, in your planning phase, you have to think safety. Safety is not something you just wake up and do along the way. You have to think it. You have to be very proactive, right? So anti-blast wall, what is an anti-blast wall? In high-risk areas, we are encouraged that when you're building your facility, you make use of things that are called what can make you construct something that is called an anti-blast wall. And what is an anti-blast wall? An anti-blast wall is designed to help you contain and minimize the impact of any accidental explosion, right? So when you're thinking safety, you're not just thinking for yourself. You're thinking for the next person. You're thinking for your neighboring, for your neighbors. You're thinking for the neighboring community. You're thinking for your staff. You're thinking for, just like the first speaker said, interested parties. You're thinking for the family of your staff. You're not just thinking for yourself, right? So what anti-blast wall does is that it helps you contain and minimize the impact of accidental explosion. So the technology is put in a way, and during your development phase, your civil works phase, right? Your contractor knows the necessary ingredients to mix and make sure that, okay, this fence here cannot explode. That no matter what goes on, we've already built something here that cannot explode. So I just want you to picture that in a facility where you have gas detection, you have emergency shutdown, you have anti-blast walls, and you have everything. What's the level of safety as you as a worker or an employee? How secure would you feel in that type of environment? So you would feel very secure, and that's what the hierarchy of control does. It helps you it enables you to put in things before you start your operations, right? So I would go to the next slide, please. So I would also speak to within a facility the necessities you must have, further necessities you must have to ensure that you're enabling a safe operational environment and you're also ensuring protection. Some of these things are signages, floor markings, PPEs, and the likes, right? So why do we need floor markings, right? Just like I said, you have to carry out inspection, and during when you're employed, when you need to put something for safety, like I said, you have to make informed decisions, right? So you go to your facility, you make an inspection of your facility, you consider safe working environment, not working, safe walking environment, because in some facilities there's bound to be high traffic, there's bound to be heavy lifting, there's bound to be a lot of things, right? So you consider, okay, at what distance, which area can pedestrians walk to be sure that they are safe from whatever is coming or whatever is being allowed or whatever is being lifted. So floor markings helps you designate necessary areas where pedestrians can walk that is at a very safe level for them to be able to walk. And what signages do is that signages help you communicate to people. Just like we said, administrative control, it helps you talk to people about how to work, when to work, what to do. So signages is a form of communication to people, even visitors within your facility. They need to be aware of the right things to do. Just like we said, safety is everybody's concern and it is everybody's responsibility. And somebody's responsibility for safety or irresponsibility for safety can actually affect my own safety. For example, if you're in a gas facility and it's very flammable, and then you're thinking of smoking. I mean, everybody would know that you shouldn't smoke. You would think it's general knowledge, but don't assume. We don't assume. So you have to communicate to people because you are the one that knows the level of product or the level of whatever is in your facility. So you have to communicate to people on what you want them to do. You have to remind them on the locations that are very high risk. You have to ensure that you have the adequate PPE, personal protective wears for them. And you have to ensure that they know how to make use of their PPEs, right? So communication is very important when you're thinking of safety. All right, so next slide, please. Yeah, I'll be speaking to pipeline safety and dispensing area safety. So in the gas system, in the gas industry, we have the pipe distribution, we have the compressed natural distribution, we have the liquefied natural distribution. So they are broken down into two categories, right? We consider the pipe distribution as pipeline gas, right? And then we consider the compressed and liquefied distribution as virtual pipelines. Basically means that you can move your gas, right? You can move the pipeline. So basically it's a virtual pipeline. And the aim of this is that you are able to provide gas to customers or people in stranded locations. Because just like we know, the pipeline system or the pipeline network in Nigeria doesn't allow some people in stranded locations the opportunity to get gas. And just like we know, that is like a very good alternative to some other fossil fuels, which are more expensive and which are more environmentally unfriendly. So gas is basically the top choice. So we invest in compressed natural gas and we invest in liquefied natural gas. So one thing that we do in regard to safety of your pipeline and safety of just to speak a little bit to the nature or the difference in the two is that in piped natural gas, a pipeline is actually naturally built, right, to withstand twice or even 3 times the pressure of incoming gas and distributing gas that a compressed or a virtual pipeline can withstand, right? So precautionary measures such are put in place to ensure that there are no leakages, there are no ruptures, there are no failures of the pipelines, and then to ensure that basically just to encourage peak operational conditions, right? So normally what people do is that just like we have the parties responsible for the distribution in Nigeria and even the transportation in Nigeria, NGIC. What NGIC does is that by NGIC I mean that NNPC Gas Infrastructure Company Limited. What they do is that they carry out routine of maintenance of the pipeline, they do pigging, and they do all of that just to ensure that the pipeline is effective and is safe enough for people. And then there's no explosion, there's no leak in the environment and all of that, right? So that's the responsibility of key stakeholders. So when you as also a key stakeholder, right, in the industry, you compress your gas and you sell to people and all of that. It's all good and fine. It's good to have dreams and aspirations. But what the regulatory bodies will do is that they will ask you, okay, this is your dream and this is your aspiration, which is good. But what are you doing to ensure that safety is paramount, right? Because your virtual pipeline will be driving on the road. So what do you do to ensure that there's no leakage? So what we do is that we carry out an integrity test on our compressed natural skids to ensure that these skids are able to take over 200 bar of gas, right, and of pressure, right, so that they can withhold the pressure and the gas is not dispersing in the air. Because it will not be anybody's fault if you are driving your truck of skid and then somebody lights fire and then the thing explodes. It's definitely not going to be anybody's fault, but your fault, because you know the sensitivity of what you're carrying on the road, and you must ensure that there is safety. So one thing you do is that you must carry out integrity tests at different levels and at different periodic integrity tests to ensure that your virtual pipeline or CNG skids are able to withstand the necessary pressure. All right, thank you. Please, I'll be going to the next slide. The environmental safety measures, right? Okay, in safety, when you're thinking health, safety, and environment. So what are things that you put when you're talking about safety of the environment? Okay, you're in a facility and then you're not building necessary drainages. Please, what do you think will happen? I just want you to think about that. If there's no proper waste management in your facility, what do you think is going to happen? People are going to be falling sick. And if people are falling sick, people are not doing their jobs well. And then if people are not doing their jobs well, there's going to be human error. And if there's human error, your equipment is probably going to have faults and maybe something will happen. There's going to be slip-ups and then there's going to be an incident. So I'm just showing you how incidents can build and how the ripple effect of just one flimsy, what you might consider a flimsy inaction or inaction, right? So for your environmental safety, what you do is that you build the necessary drainage system, and then you make sure that waste management is your goal, right? You ensure that waste is being treated properly, is being dispersed properly, so that people are not sick, and also so as to meet sustainable goals of the global system. So what also enables an environmental safety measure is also the use of necessary technologies like or necessary build-ups like anti-black walls, as mentioned before. So I would like to go to the next slide, please. Okay, so as initially mentioned, right, I'm going to tie all of this back to risk assessment and risk management. There is no way that, the way I see it is that there's really no one size fits all, right? You can go into one facility and then learn from them, right? But if you don't make proper investigations or you don't ask the right questions, you would not know why they used a particular device or why they used a necessary or a particular type of signage or something in their facility if you don't ask the right questions. So you cannot go to somebody and say, oh, I saw this person used that one in their facility. Let's come and use it. Okay, so the question is why? Why are you using it in your facility? Just like I said, in safety, when you're thinking safety, you have to think from a very informed level. You have to make informed decisions, right? And what this does is that you have to have a risk management framework, and you also have to have emergency preparedness procedure. So during your risk management, what you basically do is that you identify the hazards, right? You identify the risks, who is going to be affected, what is going to be affected, what is going to be lost, the level of at which the risk is going to impact people, right? And then you have to come up with a mitigation plan, a contingency plan, and also you have to actually always monitor the effectiveness of the things that you use, right? And the gas detectors effective. Okay, did it help us curb incidents, or did we see experience with fire explosion? If you see experience with fire explosion, that means your gas detection system was probably not calibrated. Okay, oh yes, you have to always calibrate in a particular amount, but we missed that. So basically, what risk management framework does for you is that it helps you monitor your risks. So as much as you put things in place, right? You put engineering controls in place, you put PPEs, you've trained people, it still doesn't really take away the risk. It doesn't. So what it does is that it reduces the occurrence of the risk. So what you have to do to ensure safety is that you always monitor the effectiveness of whatever you put in place to be sure that it's working. And then if it's not working, or if it's working to a certain standard and you're not satisfied, you have to put in continuous improvement plan to ensure that, okay, we are always, we're going to improve on this, we're going to improve on that. Just like what the first speaker said, that safety is not really what's it called? That safety, prioritizing safety is a marathon, right? In safety, you can't just go and sleep and kick your feet up. No, we don't do that. You have to make sure that, okay, if anything happens, just like the Nigerians will say, if anything stops right now, what are we going to do? You have to make sure that people are trained on emergency preparedness, right? How to fight fire and fighting techniques, first aid techniques, right? And all of that. You have to ensure that there's that in your facility and in your operations, right? We must conduct regular drills, and you must also take records of these things you're putting in place. All right. So I think that will be all from me. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Demilade. That was a wonderful presentation. I'm sure we all learned a lot from her presentation. And I know we have questions, and we are going to go through the questions at the end of the webinar. So now our next speaker is Engineer Dr. Samuel Asiwe. He is a senior HSE manager at Seplat Energy. Mr. Samuel, please take over. Thank you very much.
Hi, Chike, and everybody. Good morning once again. Can you please share my slide?
Yes, sir, I'm on that, sir.
Okay. While we are sharing our slide, and thank you everyone for joining us, I have a very good gift I'm going to give to every attendance today. My first panelist and second party mentioned the safety culture, and I have a good book on safety culture that I'm going to share after, maybe during the presentation. Safety culture material is a textbook I'm going to share, and it's going to be a free book for everybody. I'm going to give it to everybody, Changing Workplace Safety Culture. And I'm also going to share another useful material by International Association of Oil and Gas, IOGP, where they look at all different countries and their own accident data. I will share with everybody so that as we go through the slide, discuss about the oil and gas business, you should also know that it's not just about us here in Nigeria, it's a global business. And it's a global business because it's a very hazardous environment. It's highly regulated. I begin to look at, for me today, I am looking at business aspect of the safety in the oil and gas. So how can I help Greenfield as an organization get into the oil and gas? And which area will, apart from the safety shoes, the PPEs, let me just mention then the PPEs, what other areas do you think I should be able to open everybody's eyes after between these 10 to 15 minutes, where we begin to discuss this slide that look at the business aspect of the health and safety in the oil and gas business. Now, the next slide, yeah, this is my agenda. I have 4-point agenda. The next slide, please. Chike, next slide. Chike, can you hear me? Please, next slide. Exactly. Thank you. Very okay, fantastic. I have 4-point agenda here. Number one is I want to introduce safety in the oil and gas business, and I want to look at the benefits of integrating safety in the core business objective of the oil and gas. Why do I need to put safety into the oil and gas business? So why not say, some people would say, I've been doing this business before you were born, and since then we've not had any lost time injury, no incidents. So why am I bringing safety? Why safety? No problem, we'll look at it. Then the next one is the business case for safety. Safety incidents in the oil and gas across the the globe. So that is where I want to share that International Association of Oil and Gas incident data to everyone here, so that after this webinar, you can also go home and go deeper and see what is happening out there. How can I go into the business? Where are they having more incidents? What can I do to be able to go? We are looking at adding value. The more the value you add, the more the money you make as an organization, the more people will want to work with you as an organization, because you have good reputation, you have a good incident data management, whether income management system in place. So once that is in place, everybody, for instance, here, and if I ask everybody here, who can you just private chat me, who wants to work with Chevron? I think almost like maybe not just 100%, at least 70% would like to go and work in the bigger oil and gas. And you ask them, aside the monetary aspect of it, yeah, everybody want to earn good money. What are other things? Work-life balance. What is the underlying factor that's making you to have that work-life balance? There are all that issues. So those are the things we're going to look at the next 4 agenda, the practical strategies for safety excellence. So next slide, Chicken. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Well done. Now, we want to look at the business, introduction of safety in the oil and gas business. Now, when you hear some people, okay, we have the downstream, we have the midstream, and we also have the upstream, the oil and gas. Now, there's this Engr Spring 2018, this no regulation of this threat to the environment. So most organizations are looking at the threat to the environment. There's also regulation around it. We are looking at a high-risk environment, the equipment, high pressure, the equipment. Then what do we do to ensure that incidents don't happen here? Because there are a lot of issues that has happened in the past as a result of flammable substance explosion in the deep sea, the oil and gas, whether downstream or midstream or upstream environment. So we are looking at focusing on the environmental stewardness, how we can be able to reduce the risk of spills and emission to the environment. Environmental compliance monitoring in place. What are the regulatory limits for the total number of flares that you can go to the environment according to the Gas Spring 2018 standard? There are a lot of regulatory aspects of it, national and international best practices that are regulating in the oil and gas. You have your national law, you have international law, you equate your national law, international law, and look at your best practices. That's why we're looking at, and when Ikenna was mentioning performance monitoring, that is very, very important. So maybe next time we will do another webinar too. I will share some useful materials for everyone that will join us on the performance monitoring and measurement. But at this point, we want to look at how we're going to prioritize safety in this oil and gas business, highly volatile environment. And everybody want to say, hey, I want to work offshore. They have plenty of money. Yes, fine. So what are the do's and the don'ts there that, okay, things are going to work in the offshore oil and gas facility? What are the things you need to do, safety measures we need to put in place? What are the safety equipment that we need to be able to implement to ensure that if anything happens, everybody will go home safely? And that is where Green Shield will also come into place. What are the things that are happening there in the oil and the deep sea that is happening there? And what are the safety precautions that is in place, safety critical equipment that is in place? And what are the safety monitoring devices that are in place to ensure that those safety critical equipment, that are also safe, and also the maintenance that are in place? Who are the ones doing it? Which OEM are the ones doing it? Even if you're not the one doing it, can we engage the OEM and let it be their rep, so that they are coming to Nigeria? A lot of oil and gas businesses that are in Nigeria, we can also be their rep as they are coming. Okay, fine, somehow we have to also be in terms of manpower. You may not be the one that have the technical expert, but they have manpower in place here in Nigeria. The local people that are here in Nigeria, they can train. Those ones will also be under you. As you are training them, they're getting more experience, and you also be training people getting more experience. You're expanding the business, the overall of the business. So it's very, very important that we also look at the deep sea personal protective equipment, the inspection techniques that they have in place, the software that they have in place. Yes, they are how to monitor their safety critical equipment, the pressure safety valve, the pressure relief valve that they have in place, and those monitoring they implemented to ensure that this flammable volatile environment is safe and secured. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, if you look at this slide, this is an extra from International Association of the Oil and Gas Producers, IOGP, fatality activities. I want us to, can you just expand this more so that people can see this very well on the activities? Yeah, you can increase your distance to 120. Don't touch the slide, don't worry. Just increase your, by the end of your laptop, increase it to 120 so that it will be show very well. Now, if you look at their under activities from 2019 to 2013, 2023, you're looking at the activities and looking at the fatalities that occur from each of the activities. So that is where I want us to look at as an organization. Now, if you look at the, for instance, drilling, workover, wells, operation, you find out that from 2019 till date, there's no year that there's no fatalities. Then what can a greenfield, what can they do here, business they can do to ensure that they help the oil and gas business to reduce these fatalities? That is also money. Then you also look at lifting, crane, rigging, deck operations. You find out that from 2019 to date, every year is happening, fatalities that happen. In 2019, you see, 2023, you see it's 4. Now, you also look at the transportation, marine environment also. You find out that there's fatalities there and there. So go through this when you're doing your business case. Go through all these, the activities in the oil and gas. See where they're having issues in in the activities, and look at your product that you have in place, and see if you can be able to handle all of this. And if the product that you have in place cannot handle all of this one, you can also have like a partnership with another OEM that you can also be their rep in Nigeria. You'll be the one to market the product, and you also be the one being the rep here. That will also add more value to you as an organization. So data is life. So by this data, we are seeing all this data together, you can be able to project your next 2025 business and see how you can be able to increase your manpower to be able to achieve all of this one. The result may not come exactly in 2025, but if you're able to have your 4-year business development team, 4 years plan, 2 years plan, 5 years plan, you find out that when you enter into the oil and gas proper, having this data in place, you will be able to increase the value and the organization. And most people would like to come and join the organization. Oh, these people, they are doing well. Like when Ikenna was talking, Ikenna said, we need to publish our man-hour. How many man-hour? Well, the approach you. We have the total man-hour without injury in the organization. How many audits do you conduct for your contractors? What is the performance measuring, monitoring that you have in place? So those are the things they want to see. They want to see figure. They want to see your financial figure, fine. They want to see how you're doing in terms of safety, how you're managing your contractors, how you're managing your employee here. Your employees turnover, is it that someone joined the organization January this year and December is already telling you, oh God, sorry, I want to go to the next company, because of those internal issues that we are not able to handle. Now, people will look at it now from, okay, are you sure Nigeria is here? Are you sure they're talking of Nigeria? This one they're saying international Ilanga. Maybe it's not Nigeria. Oh, the good news is on the next slide. Nigeria is there. Africa is there. We are oil and gas producing nation. Next slide, please. Thank you, Chike. Now, lost time injury rate by country. So it's an excerpt from, can you just drop on that here, on that chart where everybody can see? You drop that IOGP data that I shared with you so that everybody can have access to the material. So if you look at it now, you see Nigeria, Africa, you see Nigeria in 2021, our lost time injury rate by country is 0.10 and 0.16. In 2022, 0.06. In 2023, 0.14. You see? Now, if we are looking at it that you are in Nigeria, for instance, you are looking at doing a business in Nigeria, I have looked at the slide before now, look at the activities where these issues are coming from. And you see that you see the lost time injury rate with the oil and gas, and you now ask yourself, where did they even get all the data from? Are you sure this data is not something like Nigeria? This oil and gas is highly regulated. We have reporting of every oil and gas have this reporting in place. We have different regulators that monitor even your spill, the monitor the level of spill, your monitor environmental compliance monitoring, the flare monitoring, deferment of equipment deferment, also the reason for the deferment of this equipment, and why there's high volume of flare in the environment. We have all those data to play. I'm privy to work as maybe environmental compliance, the compliance lead, where I have access to all this data. We have a software where these regulators, like that of NPLC, will come and audit your own process and ensure that there is compliance. And any non-compliance to this international process and also the national law, there's a fine. So that's why they have to ensure that everything is working, because each fine, you sometimes will pay a huge amount of money, and nobody will want to do that, because the more you pay, the more the organization, they are not making money. You find out that when you're looking for instance, now we're in November, everybody is expecting a 13th month, everybody is expecting pay raise. But if the organization is not doing well as expected, I don't think there will be everything possible to ensure that you have access to all of these things. So that's why this data speaks volume. You work with this data and ensure that you implement it into your business case and increase your own value as an organization. The more value you have as an organization, the more money you have. Money answers to value. So next slide, please. Don't be scared when you hear about incidents. Now, I will take some time here and explain this slide very well. I asked a question. So why is it that even after the Alpha Piper that happened in 1988, they know that even till now, we don't hear anything about deep, not sea for Aberdeen. We don't hear anything about the company anymore. So why is it that despite this video being shared, despite all the lesson learned from this incident being shared, whether all of us knowing what really led to it, or everybody in your oil and gas, by the time you enter oil and gas, the first induction video they will share with you is this Alpha Piper, and yet incidents continues to happen. Is it that people, what they are telling us, we are looking at it that it's just a story, or why is this thing still happening? Good. The good news is that is why I want to bring us back to the word performance monitoring. Sometimes you know about this thing. You know that, okay, when you see it, most time we see it on safe, out and safe condition. When you see it, you own it. Correct. But the issue is, what internal process that you have in place that you're implementing to ensure you are actually seeing and doing? What is this process you have in place that you're seeing you are doing? What is the performance monitoring and tracking that you have in place that you're seeing you're doing? And at the end of the whole year, the lesson learned from all they are seeing and you're doing. A near miss today not handled will also lead to an incident tomorrow that will also get you off business entirely. And now, if you look at this word now, what I wrote down here, what we learn from history is that we fail to learn from nothing. Yes, we have learned from the history. We did not internalize it as an organization. We did not even train our people internally to ensure that they have proper understanding and implementation of what went wrong. We did not use it to project like a performance monitoring and setting out an objective for us as an organization to ensure that what happened in the past, due to the lesson learned from what happened in the past, implement it on what we are doing as an internal process to ensure that the future is secured. You see, in my 4-point agenda, I am bringing 3 points inside: the past, the present, and the future. And all of them tie down to process, just like an onion, circle within a circle. So as you are peeling the onion, you are seeing another circle inside, you're seeing another circle inside. And that is how the risk management process, ISO 13001, at the 31,000 2018 standard, the risk management process, that is how it is. Process within process. As you are doing the risk identification, you remove that one. You are assessing the risk, you leave that one. You are evaluating the risk, you leave that one. You are looking at risk monitoring and risk communication in the organization. But how do you track all of these things? How is everybody, the people that are in the organization, how is it being communicated? What is the assurance that the effectiveness of control that you have as an organization is in place? How do you assess the health and safety management system process. What standard do you have as an organization? Like now we have the likes of ISO 45001 previously, or 15001 standard. Now you may say, okay, we are ISO certified. Correct. We have been audited. Correct. But what is the culture in an organization, even when you said you are being certified to ISO standard? Yet, you get certified to ISO standard. Equipment is failing. Personnel's medical treated cases increasing. First aid cases increasing. Everything is increasing. Yes, paper-wise, you are passing your audit because you know what to put in place. So the auditors will look like, okay, there's a perfect system. But inside you, you know that there are some hidden things, organization, that we need to put in place that will sustain the organization. That is sustainability. What are you doing today that you can be able to be in business tomorrow? And the people, when you leave tomorrow, the people that are coming behind you will still be in business for continual, that's what we call it, improvement in the ISO standard. So all of these issues happen in different locations. This one, Bhopal in India, Alpha, Piper, and this Aberdeen, Beirut in Lebanon. They are switching in the UK, the Fulbro chemical plant in the UK, Chernobyl nuclear disaster, and also Deepwater Horizon. This one happened in Mexico, and Chernobyl happened in Ukraine. So all of this, you see the total number of deaths, and these are just the number of deaths. We are also looking at people that did not die, but they sustained an injury. Imagine in the Beirut warehouse explosion that is having 6,500 injuries, 6,500 injuries that they have here. Just imagine, just on one incident. It's possible that since in Lebanon, this thing has never happened since once in Lebanon. But once, this one alone, one incident alone, has also taken 200 lives and injured 6,000. Imagine 6,500 injuries. Can gather 6,500 people and see how big how it is. So safety is very, very important. Have a proactive monitoring in place, have the proactive measure in place, have the proactive monitoring in place, auditing the process and ensure that there's effectiveness or control based on the incident, the risk, and the hazard and the risk that is relevant to the organization, considering the internal and external issues, looking at the risk management procedure they have in place, having documented information in place to ensure that those risks, these internal issues, the risk are being documented and the risk ranking are being in place. You look at the high risk level and ensure that there's mitigation in place. Look at the effectiveness of that mitigation that is in place and is properly followed. You looked at the review process, management review process, where you review your internal issues, you review your scope of the management system, you look at interested parties, look at the policies that are in place and ensure that the policies are best in line with international best practice. You look at the risk and opportunities that you have in place within the organization. You look at the communication worksheet, the internal and external communication worksheet. You look at the performance monitoring that you have in place and ensure there's a continual correction and corrective measure that is put in place. All of this one covers the management system of the ISO standard that you will have in place. You may not be certified to the ISO standard, but you can conform to the ISO standard. So can we go to the next slide? Here we are looking at benefits. Bringing safety into the organization, into the business, right? What are the benefits? Also increase your operational efficiency. Where the safety culture of the organization is improved, where your safety reporting is increased because you have a safety culture, that will also reduce your incident in the organization. So when the incidents in the organization is being reduced, production will also be increased. So the cost and the financial stability that will involve in going to the medical expenses, paying more insurance premium because you're having more incidents, they are also reduced. We have looked at the cost reduction due to improve safety culture. We're also looking at innovation and competitive advantage. So when your organization is doing well, right, everybody would like to work in an organization that have a good reputation, because you don't want to wake up one day, you come to work, they say there's no more work. There's a culture in place. Then automation, I want to look at this automated process. Now, I was privileged to be at NLNG 23 shutdown last year, where we, instead of using people to go into the gun pipe to monitor the cracks of the pipes, so what they do now, they now introduce the Helios 3 drone. The OEM is flyability. Then they introduce this Helios 3 drone where you now fly the drone through the pipe. And as you are flying the drone through the pipe, people in the office, they are also seeing the activities of the drone. The pilot also that is flying the drone, the video is showing on the screen where you begin able to identify areas where there are cracks also on the pipeline. So there are a lot of automated processes that are in place now. So now, even all these pressure safety valves, pressure release valves, you can also automate them. You can be on the worker control room and see any of them that is also whether faulty or there's issues with it, because it's going to show on your control room where you see all the area, whether in the gas plant, in the flow station, or anywhere, you automate the whole process. Now, automating the whole process doesn't mean it's reducing. Some people say AI will also remove people in business. It's what you are the one that is telling AI what to do. AI will not remove anybody in business. You understand? So what you need to do is to increase your skill and functionalities of the tools that you are using and integrating into the organization for effectiveness. So, but now looking at what is Green Shield, what are they going to do in the oil and gas automating process, in terms of safety automating process, they can do to be able to increase value and be able to ensure that they become one of the best safety business people whether in Nigeria and Africa. So those are the issues we are looking at here. Core business, or looking at not just culture, increasing culture. What are you going to do? What business sense, business value are you bringing to the oil and gas business that will boost their safety culture? What are the tools, the technological tools, the safety technological tools that you are going to introduce to ensure that there's continuous improvement and enhance your corporate, enhance the organization, the oil and gas, the corporate reputation of the oil and gas. They ensure that once there's corporate reputation in the oil and gas, people would like to come, both the expatriates, the national, and everybody would like to come and work in the organization. Therefore, increasing employee engagement and retention. By putting this safety equipment and the tools in place, you will also ensure that you are compliant to legal and regulatory issues in the both national and international law. By so doing, when you are bringing, it's just one stone, they say one stone to kill two birds. In this safety thing, it's not just two birds. So you are increasing, bringing a software in the organization to monitor, like when you're doing you're carrying your hazard operability studies. You are looking at different risk management tools that you have in place. Then we are looking at introducing it in such a way that whether in different nodes, we call it nodes in the pipeline, whether a pipeline in any of the facility that you have in place, we ensure that whatever you are introducing is something that is adding value to the organization. And by the time you are adding value to the organization corporate image is increasing. And corporate reputation is increasing. The employee retention, nobody wants to leave because they are doing you well. The organization is making money. They are paying you good money. You want to travel to anywhere in the world for training, they will take you for training. As they're taking you for training, they're okay. Instead of you waiting for December before 13th month, in November, you're already getting your 13th month. You are getting your 12th leave. Every month, the allowances are getting it. So what will make you to leave? And there's no legal issues in the organization. People, they are having a clean slate because there is a process in place. And one of the process in place is adding this like AI technology, bringing safety technology in place to ensure that there is bringing innovation and competitive advantage to the organization to ensure that there is continuity of business in the organization and ensure that there is corporate image, reputation of the organization, and incidents is being reducing. Production, they are not stopping production in any day because of any safety issue. They are making money. That is the area I'm going to look at. Ginshi to go back to after the webinar look at, okay, where can we come into the oil, how increase our own, our own product, how can we make the business market better, how can we make add more value, not just the market, add more value to the oil and gas. And those are the areas we are going to look at to ensure that, the organizations enhance their corporate reputation of the Green Shield. Now, the next slide, please. The next slide will be on the practical strategies. We know these are the things we need to do. We already know what to do. Sometimes I was just conversing with one of my friends. That's all of, the way we used to talk, all of us, we know what we are doing. You understand? Sometimes somebody will not be good and what they know, they put a place, they already has the signage, no PPE, no entry. You not tell me, say, I started my career in this company and I've been here for 20 years. And you can't tell me that I can't enter here without the PPE. I've been doing it and nothing happened. The day it will happen, one of my friends will say, devil will not be asleep that day. Maybe they have been doing before it have been asleep. The day it will happen, you don't know. But don't even wait till the day it happens. Because it's not just happening to you, it's happening to the children that you're paying school fees. It's happening to your family that you're also feeding. It's happening to your extended family. For each one person working in an organization, what technology are we going to integrate? What IT tools are we going to integrate? Go to the oil and gas, the offshore business, go to the upstream, the downstream, the upstream, look at the tools that they are using. Which one can you bring that is better than what they are using, that will increase more productivity, that will ensure that they are not flooding to the environment? You understand? There's one we are using here now, vapor recovery unit. You don't need to flood to the environment, bring it back into the system, recycle it into the system. So what are the things people are doing in terms of to reduce flare? What are they also use the flare volume monitoring. They are also one we have current here. It's a tool that we use. So those are the things we're also looking at. Then you come to the organization that you have, okay, we ensure that there's emergency process in place. You have emergency process in place. Do you carry out regulatory? Do you train people on that emergency procedure you have in place? What is their level of their level of understanding of that, the emergency response procedure you have in place? Data-driven insight, like I shared with us before now, data is life. The data-driven, you look at their data as an organization, where they are not doing well. Because the issue is, look at where there is problem and fix it, you make money. Stop complaining about problems. Sometimes people are looking at where there is problem. Look at where they are having issue. Look at the skills, the technology you can bring, the manpower you can bring to the organization, and ensure that that issue is solved. And you now look at it, okay, this organization is doing this. They will retain you. And the more they retain you, the more you make money as an organization, and the more you have what reputation of the organization. Okay, for instance, they're coming to Africa. We are looking for an organization that integrates safety so and so into the PPE. Oh, who can do it? Go online, say, Green Shield, oh, they are the one, Then they come to the organization also to look at contractor audit, look at the team that you have strong team that have to understand the skills to carry out that activity. So sometimes the organization will engage you in. Then after 1 year of learning, they also own it to themselves that they can do because they have trained people along the line. Then the OEM, not that they are going to remove their agreement with the OEM. The OEM, instead of them coming to the, from flying down to Nigeria, going out to court course. Instead of them coming down, they will also have, because you already have somebody here, they call it remote assistance to ensure that you implement those things that they have in place. You understand? Two, what are the strategy you want to use now handling hazard identification? And so you see it, you own it. So what proactive measure the organization have? Are they using paper? Sometimes create a software where you have it in your phone, anywhere, physically safe equipment, anywhere plant you are entering. You will see it, you just log it in, and the people at the head office, they are receiving it immediately, and it log on immediately. Instead of you to use paper, by the time you get back to the office, you don't see the paper again, you don't even know what really happening in it. As it's happening, you understand, as it's happening, and you are recording, and everybody is seeing it. Then safety audit and review your system, review your process, see how effective your system is. So what safety audit procedure do you have? How often do you audit your process? And what is the international best practice in terms of audit and reviews? So in terms of the review, how many management reviews have you conducted? Those actions from the management review, how did you track it? How did you close it? How many percentage of close that action do you have? And the ones remaining, if it's involved more resources, do you inculcate it into the budget of safety? If it's part of the budget of safety, they are bringing people to solve the problem. They are putting green shields. They will come and solve the problem. So that's the area you're looking at. Look at where they're having problem. Of course, look at their problem. Don't look at how good they are. Look outside. This company, glass houses. No, don't worry. Come inside. Look at the process. Look at where they are not doing well. See how you can come in. That's where you have engagement and communication. Engage with them. You have the rep in the organization you are discussing with. You will look at where they are having issues in the organization and look at how you can come in as an organization and do more business. And if you're not in business, someone like me will not come here and do this webinar to everyone to listen to me. Because we are in business, that's why you're able to call me. So we'd like to do more. And in doing more, we want to ensure that we contribute to the welfare of the organization in terms of knowledge, in terms of the technical know-how, personally, and you can contact me personally. I'm always available. And aside here, people that are also here online, that are also joining us, and also reach out to us and ensure that there's any challenges, any questions in terms of what carrying, okay, we want to pursue a career in health and safety. We can also guide you in pursuing career. Okay, green sheet can also be a trainer, can be bringing training facilities to the organization. What training gap do they have in the oil and gas? What training gap do they have? Now, it's not one company in Nigeria that is doing yet, only one person, OSP. So how can you come in offshore? People are traveling offshore, and without offshore safety permit, you cannot go offshore. So what are the things you can do? What can we do to be able to announce the name Green Shield to the bigger market? So next slide. Next slide, yeah. So I want to say thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks, okay, the speakers and all your wonderful contributions. And we'll be open to answer all your questions. The one we're not able to answer, Chika and Chike will answer it. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Dr. Samuel. So now we are going to move into questions and answers. So we'll start from the Q&A list, and if you have any questions, raise up your hands and we'll attend to you. Thank you. Okay, so I will start with the first question. This would be to the speaker. How do you balance productivity and safety in the oil and gas industry, refineries, most specifically? So any of the panelists can choose to answer.
Yeah, Ikenna will handle that. He was in a refinery environment. Ikenna, if you are here, please help us address that.
Hey, thank you very much for the opportunity, and it's been a wonderful listen from all the other speakers. Please, could you repeat the question again? I didn't get it. You said balancing.
Yes, sir. So, how do you balance productivity and safety in the oil and gas refinery, rigs or refinery?
Okay. You can balance productivity and safety by one, consulting. You need to consult with people to know what are the safety gaps that they experience whilst they're carrying out their operations. You wouldn't just why we always meet resistance as safety professionals is because we do not involve people when making decisions, or we do not get people's buy-in. Because people would always want to, like the management would always want to side on production because they want to make money. People want to make money. So if you can't buy into people's, if you can't get in people's buy-in, then you may not be able to balance production and safety. So one way to do that is to prioritize the needs. What are the needs and how can we achieve them? You know, most times we as safety people just want to do everything at the same time. And there are some of these safety needs that, okay, they do not have the budget for them yet, or they do not have the resources for them yet. the resources for the most of the budgets, or maybe resources, okay, are onto production needs. And then the guys in production, or the decision makers in production, will be like, okay, how then do we give out this much resources to safety, and then we can't actually meet up with production targets. So you need to have a plan, and then you need to prioritize. You need to identify the needs of the people, especially the guys in production. You need to identify their needs. You need to identify the needs of the operators too. People in production and operations, you need to identify their needs. You don't just like come up with needs off your head. You need to identify their needs. Then after identifying their needs, you then need to put up a plan to identify these specific needs. I'm going to give an example. Like in the refinery on our utility, there is a refinery unit. On the utility units, there are no tags. Like, okay, our utility lines, we have the lines for nitrogen, the lines for steam, the line for pressurized air, and then the line for water. And these lines do not have tags. And it's a safety issue. It's a safety issue. We do not want, because there are color codes for the lines as per standards. Like for nitrogen, the color code is black. And then the line is not color coded and is not tagged. And then we have hoses, that various hoses that are plugged into these lines for use. And then, we are saying, what if someone goes to use the hose for water and then plugs it into steam? There could be an incident as a result of that, like probably damage to the water hose, or even the coupling. They could be like being struck as a result of being struck by the hose, as a result of maybe excessive pressure, or getting burnt, because you can't use the hose for water on the hose for steam. And then we had to meet the production guys. We told them, okay, this is what we've identified. This is what we identified during our inspection, and this is what we propose, that these things have to be color coded. We need to even it has to be color coded so that people can plug in the right hoses. And then the production guys and production/operation guys were like, do you even know that the reason why those utility lines are not even color coded yet or tagged is because the couplings can't fit? And we're like, wow. So imagine if we had just seen that on site, and then we go and start pushing. We didn't consult. And then we start saying, yeah, we need resources, we need money. Oh, forget it. It's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. So we consulted with them, and they even gave us another perspective that, look, yes, even the couplings don't even fit. That's why we've not really like, okay, fine, you've not really color-coded them, the couplings doesn't fit. So this is it here. We established a plan. Okay, fine, we're going to start by color coding. In the next 4 months, we should color code, not only in this unit, because there could be other utility lines in some other units in the refinery, like condensate units in the refinery, like condensate. There could be other utility lines in condensate that are not color coded. So this is like a refinery-wide project now. You see what is happening? So we've now projected that in the next 4 months, there's going to be a thorough inspection, and then the color coding projects would begin for utility lines. Plan number 1. Plan number 2 now is the couplings. We need to get couplings so that people can easily plug in the hoses. So after 4 months, after the color coding, we are moving into another project now, getting couplings. And maybe even getting the couplings, they could even be management of change, because we may be needed to get new hoses. So this is how you balance safety and production. You don't just work independently. You consult the affected guys. They will give you a clearer perspective, and then you draw out your plans. When you draw out your plans, you'll be able to make informed decisions and informed resource allocation. Because we have a plan now. We know, okay, we need so and so amount now for this labeling and tagging campaign. we need so and so amount now for purchasing of couplings. By the end of the inspection, we know we need so and so amount for the purchasing of couplings, and then we need the period for management of change, and then we need to even purchase new hoses. So in summary, you need to identify the needs, you need to plan, you need to allocate resources based on informed decision, consultation, and criteria. And this is how you balance safety and production. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ikenna. That was very concise and in-depth, especially with the detailed examples and scenarios. We have one person here with their hand raised. Mr. Azubike, I would allow you to talk now and you can ask your question. And if anyone else wants to talk, please raise up your hand and we will attend to you shortly. Thank you. No problem. I think he has a question type, so I'll just go ahead and. So his question is on data collection regarding lost time injury in Nigeria. From his experience, most companies in Nigeria do not report incidents in their companies. I can't see the question here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't worry, even with that in asking the question, I will also mention it that most organizations' safety data looks so good on paper, right? Now, by the time you look into it, you find out that maybe it's as a result of underreporting. And underreporting could also be as a culture in the organization that say, production does not want to see that they have any issue. So that management during bonus, management will not say production bonus, they will not reduce their money because of that cultural issue. It wasn't me. Everybody just want to add it wasn't me. But in oil and gas, because you mentioned most companies, in oil and gas is highly regulated. And if you are seeing underreporting or not reporting, it's a regulatory issue, you'll be fined. And there's a level of fine they will give to you. It will also lead to closure of your facility. They don't joke with it. You must. And that's where they use the word, what happens to one happens to all in the oil and gas. And that's why you have to see where what happened now, they publish it everywhere. People will learn. They call it learning from incident, LFI.
I would like to speak to the data collection, and we all know like the data culture in Nigeria, but we are safety professionals. We are meant to be different. We shouldn't be influenced by the situation, the ongoing situation of other companies don't keep data and the rest. What about you as a professional, as someone who is trying to create value using safety? You should be able to keep data, because data would enable you make decisions. Data would enable you, your incident data. Like if you want to come up with a solution now, like if you're having an incident, once you have the data, you'll be able to influence decisions. Because people on the decision desk, they don't have much time to listen to much talks. They just look at your data, like your pie charts, your graph, and then with that, you can actually convince and influence their decision, so that they can buy into your idea. And then you should also motivate people at work sites to report incidents, regardless of how small it is. And then the thing is that most people, they work in a culture where they have seen it that when you report incidents, you'll be blamed. They'll say, oh, it's because of this person, that's why we're not having safety bonus. Oh, this person wants to tarnish the image of the company. So there is a lot of like some people have toxic safety work cultures that suppress that need to report incidents regardless of how little. So it is on our own end now as safety professionals to come up with programs, come up with policies, such as speak up policies, You want to recognize people for reporting incidents, not just for, oh, we want to recognize this person for the best SOC cards. At times, you recognize people for reporting incidents, unsafe conditions, unsafe acts. Like unsafe conditions, some people come, they report gas leaks, and we reward them. At the end of the week, we give them like maybe AirPods. People are happy that we reported an incident, we reported a leak, and people who are in charge of the leak, or people who are in charge of that area now, for example, we say, okay, operations or mechanical, people in mechanical integrity, they don't feel blamed because of the leak. They don't feel blamed. They're not even angry at the person for reporting, because the reporting system also should be looked into. You should create a reporting system that promotes anonymity on the front end, but at the back end, we know who reported, we know the reasons why they are reporting, and then we are taking actions. When people see they are recognized for their inputs to improving the safety culture, they will report. So the onus is left for us as safety professionals to run with data, to create a reporting system that doesn't promote blame. Okay, I'll give an example. There is like in Qatar Energy, when you report incidents, your name goes round, like, oh, this person has reported incidents. Your name goes round, and then we sat down and we talked about it. We said, with the way people's names, like by the time you even bought the staff bus, or if you're in the canteen, some people say, look at you, oh, you reported incident today. We saw what you reported. You know, people felt embarrassed because people can just approach you. We saw the incident you reported. So we had to redesign the reporting system. Front end, you're not seeing anybody's name. You're not seeing the name of the person reporting, in as much as people get the message that an incident has been reported, but you don't see the name. You just see the incident, you see the location, and then you see the consequence. But we are the back end safety professionals. We all see these things, and then we take action. So
thank you, Mr. Ikenna, and thank you, Engineer Samuel. I think that briefly answered the question. We'll take one more question because of the time, but I want to give one statement for us to reflect on what we think the gaps between safety management and practices in the areas we can improve in the oil and gas industry. So we have one more question here from Mr. Iboro. What should SHE teams do if notice that employees have not been complying with the use of mandatory PPEs, such as eyeglasses, head protection, earplugs, while working in bottling industries? This question is directed to Engineer Samuel to share his insights.
I will answer it not just specific to the bottling company. Let's go to, there's what we call general. After the general, you look at specific. Because this thing now, this is happening not only in the bottling company, it's also happening even in my own company. I think it's also happening in Ikenna's company, and also our lady here, Demilade's company also. Is happening everywhere. So the issue is, first question you need to answer for yourself as a safety practitioner is, do you have a PPE program in place? Do you have a PPE program in place? How is it implemented? Who monitors the PPE program in place? When you are doing your budget as an organization, is PPE part of your budget? Because sometimes, let's not deceive ourselves. You tell someone, no PPE, no entry. And every year you are giving somebody just one coverall. How can you be wearing one coverall every day to work? Some organizations. So, but when you have a program in place, you have a mandatory PPE in place, and people are not complying, there is a non-compliant PPE this thing like in place that you have, that if you don't comply, this is what will happen to you, right? That is part of the PPE program. But you cannot implement non-compliance measure in place when you, as an organization, you are not complying. we should also start from the point of, are we doing the right thing? The things we think is the right thing, is it in conformance and compliance with the national and international best practice? Your PPE program also, did it cover whether the respiratory protection is in place, industrial, occupational hygiene, that covers also in occupational hygiene, industrial hygiene, all of these OH and S, the OH factor inside, the health, the occupational health inside, the safety aspect inside, and they also robust enough to cover all of these issues that we have in the work environment. Aside this thing we mentioned here, there are other things that will shortly include. The first is you have a program in place. There is a budget that will address that program you have in place. And there is also a process in place, procedure in place that will also monitor that program that you have in place, like a plan. And there's also a policy for non-compliance, any non-compliance, policy for non-compliance measure issue that is in conformance to the program and the plan that you have in place. When all of these things are working, when you are looking at non-compliance, you should not look at, okay, according to our ABCD, we are issuing you a non-compliance today because of ABC. So you can't issue non-compliance to a worker that you have not issued safety boots since 1 year, you have not changed his boot, and it's coming to site without a safety boot. You say no safety boot, no entry. So how do you expect him to go to work where you did not provide a safety boot? But if you are providing, just like a man, you are providing for your family, you can come back home and ask for your food. If you are not providing for your family and you come back, there's food on your table, will you eat? Me, I will not. So the issue is, when you are providing and they are giving you the adequate, they are not following what is implemented in place, then you can wear your cap and execute non-compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Samuel. I'll see if we have one more question. Okay, we have one more hand being raised. Let me talk out. Actually, two. Mr. Vincent Chukuma, I would allow you to talk, then you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vincent.
Good afternoon to the guest speakers, Mr. Samuel, Mr. Ikenna, and Mrs. Damilola, if I got the name right. Thank you, Griffith, for organizing this wonderful webinar. It's really been an eye-opener. Okay, my question goes to, if the second speaker can actually attend to it, I'll appreciate. Then the second one, any either of Mr. Ikenna or Dr. Samuel could answer it. The question is, should safety professionals be worried about their jobs being replaced by AI technologies? I'm directing this particularly to Ms. Damilola. And then the second one is, how do you manage non-compliance to safety standards by employees or contractors who think safety slows down the work to be done? How do you manage non-compliance to safety standards by employees or contractors who think safety slows down the work to be done? So those are my questions for now. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Vincent. So my name is Demilade, but you can call me Demi, just for any other person that doesn't know how to pronounce my name. So to answer your question, should safety professionals be worried about AI taking their jobs? So what I would say is that human beings, people use tools. AI is a tool, right? That was created by a human being or a group of people to enhance the effectiveness of a process, right? So human beings use tools. Tools don't use human beings. So I wouldn't say you should be worried about it taking your job. What I would say you should do is always be in a position of continuous learning, right? There are always new things. New things will always come. Like now, there was a time people were using horses for transportation, and then now we're using cars, and then people were using typewriter, and then people had to switch to computers. Will you say that computers took people's jobs? Yes, it did. But then tools don't use human beings. It was only to people in the position where they felt they were comfortable in. If you're not willing to learn, that's when you should be bothered that, okay, something else will take your job. But AI as its nature is not going to take your job. In the nature that it is, as a technology, it's not going to take your job. So what you will do is to improve your continuous learning to make sure that whatever the standard or the system is going to be in the next 10 years, you are fit for that system. You're fit for that standard. In fact, even you yourself can wake up one day and decide of a tool that you know that would appropriately help the effectiveness of safety. And then you can work with a couple of friends and then, designers design an effective tool. And you will train people on how to use the tool. So tools don't use human beings use tools. Just make sure that you're in a place of continuous learning and adjust appropriately. I don't know if that answers your question. Please confirm that answers your question. Hello?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, you did. Thank you.
Dami, well done. I think you've spoken so well.
Thank you.
Vincent, that's an intelligent question. I won't lie, because there was a time, even when you see some people's email, or when you say, this employee, they know how to read or send email. So later I noticed that people are using ChatGPT, Copilot, to write email. But trust me, is what you are sending to ChatGPT that is given to you back. So you are the one that is sending the message. Tell ChatGPT, this is what I want to do it. So the issue, what I encourage every HSC professionals to do, apart from some people will now go do NEBOSH, after NEBOSH, go and do ISO training. Have you done any business training? Aside you going to the field to know all the safety issues, ask yourself, what are the skills that you have that will add to the business, be a business sense that you have that will add to the organization. So that was why in 2023, I went to do business analysis by International Institute of Business Analysis, Canada, CBAP, Certified Business Analysis Professional. So if you have time, maybe you can reach out to me. I'm going to call to direct to study business books. Get inside, go inside, go have more insight in business. Put that by the time you have been in the board, for instance, you are looking at figures, financial figures, you will understand what they are talking about, what they are doing. You should also look into that. So even when they say, okay, you are scared of AI, it's the people that understand the AI that will take your job. It's not the AI tools. It's the people that know how to use the AI that they will employ that will take your job, not really the AI. So as the AI, they're introducing AI, try to how to add more value, like Dami said. That said, okay, try and get that more skills so that you will not be okay. Look at this guy don't have to use it. Yeah, let's see this to be somebody that can do it. So organization is looking for somebody that will add that value, and they are paying you for the value.
Well, thank you very much, Dami and Sam. That was the answers were precise. I would just like to piggyback on what Dami and Engineer Sam has said. One thing I know AI can't take away are soft skills. As safety professionals, we need to begin to ask ourselves, how are our conflict resolution skills? Because safety, we deal with people, we manage people. How far have we gone with conflict resolution? How far have we gone with our communication skills and our ability to influence people? How far have we gone with our leadership skills? Have we been taking leadership courses? Have we been taking courses on conflict resolution? These are things AI, like your soft skills. At the end of the day, organizations will be looking for safety professionals who have the right soft skills to even drive AI solutions in the workplace. For example, now we have like an LMS, a learning management system, that has AI and also artificial intelligence. So how then do you feel comfortable? How then do you make people feel comfortable going to use these things or going to try them? It's communication skills to influence people's decisions, to make them see that, oh, this is a new way now. Before, people were just used to going to training rooms, taking trainings. Now there's a learning management system that has AI and also has artificial intelligence. So you need to grow your soft skills, leadership, communication, conflict resolution, decision making, and influence.
Thank you, Ms. Demilade. Thank you, Engineer Samuel. Thank you, Mr. Ikenna. I believe you were adequately able to answer the questions from different perspectives as well. So every time I keep saying last question, I see 4 more hands being raised. So we'll take one last question, and that'll be the end. Mr. Onajite, I would give you permission to speak.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, anywhere you are. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Ikenna. Thank you, Dr. Engineer Sam. Thank you very much for your response. And also thank you, Demilade, the name of my colleague here in the office. So my question is more like another version of what Vincent actually asked. But based on the response I get from Ikenna, I think I wanted to just say no, I shouldn't ask, but I still want to ask. So, okay, so my question is like, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so my question is that as a safety professional, health and safety professional, I want to ask what technology or high skills, which is artificial intelligence skills, should someone learn or get used to prepare for the future? Because I am very certain that the HSE profession is going to take a very different turn in the nearest 5 years based on this technology and AI involvement. So I just want to ask, based on your experience, Ikenna, you can tell us, you've been here, or probably you are here in Nigeria and there you are out of the Nigeria. Engineer Sam, I know you are versatile. So based on your experience, based on where you are, based on everything, what do you advise young professionals like me, some of the skills and technology we need to incorporate into our HSE profession to be ready for the future? Thank you.
Ikenna, can you start? Can you handle this?
Yeah. Okay, I was in talks with two. Okay, I'll mention the names. 2 organizations who are into this AI stuff. And one, they're into providing trainings, AI-driven trainings. So as a safety professional, you need to start tailoring your training programs. You need to be able to draw up training programs. They will be needing you. These guys, they came to solicit my advice, and they even came to solicit that I work with them. So they will be needing us. The future is very exciting. So they asked the question. So if you want to design a training for confined space, you don't have to do the animation stuff. You mean, okay, fine. If you want to go the extra step, you can go to learn to become an animator. But they need your input on confined space requirements, confined space hazards and risk. And then as you talk, you have the animator designing. The animator wouldn't be able to come up with concise, because the animator doesn't have the experience working on the field or engaging with people who work in confined spaces. So you need to start looking at coming up with good training programs, and then understanding standards too, because they need these standards in trainings for for virtual reality. Okay, like he was the confined space training he was talking of. They were like, okay, you're going to put on the glasses. This is the model. Whoever that is doing the confined space training will put on these virtual reality glasses, and then it's going to take you into the confined space. And then you'll be able to see the hazards. So where would the hazards come from? The information about the hazards, the instructions of controlling these hazardous situations and conditions. Where would it be coming from? It will be coming from safety professionals like you and I. We will be there to guide them. This is what your training content. This is what your training should contain. This should be your training content in line with regulatory standards, in line with client standards, in line with international standards and best practices. This is how it's supposed to be. And you're going to get paid good money, cool cash. Good money. So the future is bright. You need to, I've seen that for training. They'll be leading a lot of input from safety professionals. Oh, work at heights. We need training on hot work. Our animators are there. They would create your input into animation. Your information, they would create an animation out of your information. Then secondly, I was speaking to, presently they're even coming to implement in our own organization, a permit to work system. Intelli permit to work system. So organizations now are moving to e-permit to work systems, where you use technology and at times a little bit of AI to drive safe work practices or safe working systems. So with when we are trying to review this new technology, who did they call? Safety professionals. We are the custodian of the permit to work procedures. They called, okay, and when we're able to give them their input, we are able to adapt. And one skill, again, we should be looking at as safety professional is the need to adapt to changing times. Because if you don't adapt, you become a dinosaur. If you don't adapt to evolve, you become a dinosaur. So you should be able to adapt your procedures to technological solutions. You should be able to sync them. You should have that skill to be able to sync your procedure with technology, so that when people are using the technological solution or the e-permit system, to them it just feels like we are using the paper procedure, but this time around we are just using it on our laptop. So our inputs would be very much needed. And when you're giving the inputs, like once they bring you, it's more of like a project. Once they bring you to the project now, okay, we want to implement this AI solution, and they bring you into the project, that is where you need conflict resolution. Because some people, they won't want to transition. Some people are scared of change. We are even experiencing that now. Some people now, they don't want to move into Intelli. They are comfortable with what we have been doing. So that is where you come in as a safety professional, conflict resolution. That is where you come in to communicate. At times, it's not even about what you say, but how you say it, how people perceive what you say. So the future is bright for safety professionals, and this is how we will be able to come into play in the future. They'll be needing our brains to actually bring ideas to life. Thank you.
Yeah, Ikenna, you see what I said? Let's Ikenna go first. Thank you, Ikenna. I don't know whether you are a safety professional, but if you're a safety professional, other ones listening to what as a safety professional, I just want to give you this food for thought, like a roadmap. Now, you see, when Ikenna mentioned, you need to know. That need to know is just like a summary, but I just want to take you on a little journey in terms of that understanding, knowing occupational health and safety. So most of us just go to the classroom, spend 2 weeks, I don't know whether it's 1 week now, go and do NEBOSH IGC, and after that, you're lucky to have a job, you start working. And that may be the end. Since 3 years, you have not done any other training. Trust me, you've not started. So try to have a career path. Just the organization is having an objective. Create a career path objective for yourself. From NEBOSH IGC, you are in a process facility. You can also do NEBOSH process safety. You are also making fire environment. You can also do NEBOSH fire risk assessment. After that one, you understand process. For you to understand process, go straight to knowing ISO standard, especially this integrated management system, 9001, 14001, 45001, understand the process. As you are growing also, go and do your NEBOSH diploma, which is level 6 in the UK, which was equivalent to bachelor's degree. Have your level 6 degree in occupational health and safety so that you can become an authority in dawn or safety. So by the time you become an authority, you will now go higher again, become like a designated, like a chartered membership of all these professional body, like IOSH, become a membership of IOSH, so that people will now begin to see your progress and your career path. And okay, you become a CSP in the US, Board of Certified Safety Professional. You do your CSP. And once you have your NEBOSH diploma, you can also do your CSP. Though now there's change now, but even if you start from ASP, you can also get your CSP. So as you are doing all of this, things, not just to add paper, you are knowing, because for you to be able to have known, have a CSP, there are a lot of materials, law, regulations, standards that you have to go through for you to be able to pass the 5 hours, 45 minutes written exam and get your CSP. So number one is sit down, have that your career path, get adequate training. Trust me, you may spend your for 92 years, you may not be able to have any savings in your money, irrespective of how much you are earning, because you're going to be paying in dollars or so pounds in doing all of this training. But by the time you finish all of this one, trust me, you come and tell me thank you. It will be very, very useful to you. Get that training, adequate training, to be able to be commander, captain, commander in charge of this health and safety. There are a lot to gain. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Ikenna. Thank you, Engineer Samuel. Okay. Thank you everyone for speaking. We'll be rounding off now, and if you have any further questions, reach out to us via our email or social media, and we'll get that answered for you. I want to personally thank all our speakers for making time and presenting a beautiful presentation. You know, our time budget was 1 hour to 2 hours, but we went overboard. And what was most impressive is that not just did we have people stay in, but we had people staying and actively participating, willing to learn. And I'm certain that shows the impact that your presentation had on these people. So thank you again for everyone, for all the attendees. Thank you for making time to be here. Thank you for making the decision to learn and grow. And I'll let Kelechi round up. Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody.
Hello, Kelechi.
Okay. All right. This is Kelechi here from Windshield Safety. Windshield Safety is committed to ensuring the safety of every Nigerian worker. Yes, and as part of our commitment to ensuring safety, we came up with webinars to enlighten our workers in various industries. So we've had webinars from the manufacturing sector, the construction, and this time around it's the oil and gas. I would like to appreciate everyone who made our time to join us. Okay, so like my colleague had earlier mentioned, we'll be giving out 10 pairs of safety shoes to 10 participants, and how to be enlisted. You will be following our social media platforms, all our social media pages. You follow us, you like our posts, and we pick from there. Okay, so I would like to say a very big thank you to Mr. Ikenna George. He works with Qatar Energy. Engineer Dr. Samuel, you're welcome, sir. And he works with Seplat Energy. And my darling sister, Demilade, thank you so much. She works with the Tetracore Energy Group. I'm so glad to have you all here. And I look forward to seeing you all in our next webinar. So I'd like to also say this. The slides for this webinar will be sent to you or via email. And the other files Engineer Dr. Samuel mentioned will also be sent across to everyone. Okay, so thank you all for joining us. We appreciate your attendance and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. That is bye from us here.